coming out of Ohio, because apparently the Ohio House leaves marijuana users in limbo with weed policy, you guys. That's right, Ohio House lawmakers are puff passing on dealing with marijuana policy until February, leaving marijuana enthusiasts in limbo. Ohio's new adult use marijuana law is now in effect, allowing adults 21 years of age or older to smoke. Under the law passed by voters, individual Ohioans would be able to grow up to 6 plants, but up to 12 per household. And in a quote, "I'm a sickle cell warrior, and I believe that it's provided a much better quality of life," medical marijuana user Broderick Randall II said. Having access to the drug changed Randall's life, so much so that he now works for the cannabis processing facility Benny Leaves. In quotes, "It's very hard even now to get access to cannabis as an adult," he added. "Even though marijuana is legal, Ohio law has no system set up for people to legally buy it. This is frustrating Governor Mike DeWine." Oh, everyone loves a good little frustration from the governor. But in a quote, "The black market will develop every day that goes on," DeWine said during a press conference Friday. "Right now, there are no authorized sellers. The Division of Cannabis Control isn't set to start processing retail applications until June, which means users likely won't be able to legally buy marijuana until late summer or early fall." The state Senate agreed and passed a bill to make weed available in medical dispensaries if the proposed law takes effect. However, it would limit home grow, reduce THC levels, and ban the vast majority of vapes. Republican State Representative Jamie Callender, Republican from Concord, said it isn't what voters choose, so he and House leadership are blocking it. In quotes, limiting that is really in the face of a lot of voters that voted for this," Callender said. DeWine isn't happy with the House for a multitude of reasons. The representatives are coming back from their winter break early to try to override his veto of a transgender health care ban. In quotes, "This might be a good time to take up the deal again, something that they did not do, which is to deal with marijuana issues," DeWine said cheekily. Members of the House tell WEWS and OJC that they are not only coming back for this override vote and have no plans to deal with weed. In quotes, "We are still working on getting consensus on several areas," Callender said. "Marijuana legalization is not currently scheduled for committee or floor action this week." Callender, the de facto and seemingly bipartisan spokesperson for the House, continues to fight back against the pressure from the Senate and the governor to concur on the other chamber's legislation. In quotes, "All of the interested parties are still actively discussing the outstanding issues," Callender continued, and says, "I wish it were going more quickly, but getting it right is more important than expenditure." State Senator Rob McCauley, Republican from Napoleon, and Senate President Matt Hoffman, Republican from Lima, are having to negotiate with Callender and House Speaker Johnson Stevens, Republican from Kilts Hills, but the House claims to not be budging. It should be noted that Hoffman and Stevens have contentious at best relationship, and in quotes, "Even for Cheech and Chong, that wouldn't be for personal use," Huffman said about growing 12 plants per household. "This would be essentially creating a black market for people to sell around their neighborhood or whatever it would be." McCauley, the de facto and seemingly bipartisan spokesperson for the Senate, assured the proposal wasn't going against the will of the people, since he believes that the voters didn't really know everything that they were voting on. I love when politicians say this. This is just so ridiculous, as if voters are that stupid. In quotes, he says, "I think what the voters really voted for would have been access to the products," the senator added. Callender strongly disagreed. And in quotes, "I want to make sure that here in this chamber, the people's house, that we carry out the will of the people, and the people have spoken," the Republican lawmaker added. Callender has his own bill, HB 354, that is similar to current law. It adds some safeguards for advertising and children, and Callender likes the idea of including immediate dispensary access as well. After this week, the House won't be back until February, and in quotes, "At some point, we will just have to break out the peace pipe," Callender said, acknowledging the double entendre. Even though Randall's business would profit if dispensaries could open for adult use, he agrees with Callender and, in quote, says, "I think it's the people's right that people have voted for it," he said. "People can wait a bit longer to buy marijuana, so that's the law follows the will of the voters," he says. He just wants the will of the voters, and I'm with that. I'm all about the will of the voters, but it doesn't sound like Ohio's legislature is willing to implicate it. And why are they just going after homegrown? This is Jason Beck for the High at 9 News. What do y'all have to say about this? There are 12 plants going after them.
These Republicans mad. They mad. They're big mad. And because Michigan just won national championship last night. Michigan just won national championship last night, and they still mad. They're fuming.
That's exactly why they're mad.
Mad about last
even more mad.
Loss.
You blame it all on Michigan, bro.
Yeah, they will.
That's all
what
Michigan's
Republicans
fault.
always do. They blame it on somebody else, and they don't look in the mirror.
It's becoming a trend where, lawmakers are changing laws that voters vote on.
Yeah, it
just doesn't make any sense.
I agree with you, Todd. I agree with you 100% on that. Like the fact that they're saying that the voters didn't know what they were voting for, I think is very disingenuous of a lawmaker to ever state. Regardless of what side you're on, whether you're Republican or a Democrat, to me it goes totally against the will of the people. Like you're assuming that people are just naturally stupid, and you're saying that voters are naturally stupid because they can't understand basic English.
I think the problem is the politicians are basically stupid. They can't understand why the will of the people is to legalize, right?
No.
Well, but what about this, and what about that, and what about this, and what about the kids?
No, I disagree. I disagree with that statement. I believe that they're using the people as scapegoats to impose their own will as opposed to the will of the people.
Oh, agreed. That's what I agree. It's their own will they're imposing, right? Because they're in a position of power, but it doesn't make them smart.
That is true. There is no IQ test to be a politician. That is very true.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
The only thing you have to know is how to raise money and run a campaign.
That's exactly right.
That's it.
Exactly right.
And bullshit.
Well, I mean, the bullshit can come along, and you can get plenty of staff that can help you with bullshit. But like, you actually have to know how to raise money and like be personable with people, or else you'll never be elected. Not to mention, you have to have a catchy name too, because like. The only person that I've seen do it with a crazy name that is actually doing it is Vivek Ramaswamy. That's the only one that I've seen do it with a crazy name that people just don't know.
Or you could just put your name in an AI generator like Mike Johnson.